They left the harbor just before dawn, engines ticking over on glassy water. Tom and Rick had been at this for years, crisscrossing currents, reading charts, and listening for rumors that might lead to the next big catch. That morning, a rival crew had pulled into the docks boasting nets so heavy with fish the deck nearly groaned under the weight. They handed Tom a scrap of paper with coordinates, promising a warm patch of water where fish roared toward the surface. In such numbers they leapt like silver fireworks. Skeptical but curious, Tom and Rick fueled up, checked the nets, and pushed off into the pink edge of dawn. At first, the sea offered only silence. The horizon glowed faintly as gulls wheeled overhead, their cries echoing against a sky neither quite night nor quite day. Spirits were high, but tension hummed in the idle chatter-no-season fishermen would waste hours chasing a hoax. Yet, as the sun climbed, the surface shimmered oddly. Tiny black shapes flickered against the light, rising in hundreds, then vanishing in shrieks of splashing water. From a distance they looked like shadows dancing across the waves. Up close, they revealed themselves as fish dozens of pounds each, slicing through the water with frantic urgency. Tom slowed the engine. "Here," he said, voice tight with excitement. "Drop the nets!" Rick cut power, and the nets slipped silently into the depths. Almost immediately, tension gripped the ropes as fish surged against the mesh. The boat lurched, planks creaked, and every heart on deck thundered. This was more than a school. This was a torrent of life, thrashing and pulsing where none had expected it. Then a fin broke the surface 100 yards off the starboard bow fin, far too large and deliberate to be any shark they'd ever known. It circled them once, then again, each sweep churning the water like a bow wave. The crew froze as the fish in their nets darted free, slipping through the weakened mesh. Tom and Rick exchanged alarmed looks. A shark of colossal size, yet moving with uncanny purpose, as if it understood their nets and sought to destroy them. The creature rammed the hull. The impact was thunderous. A wave tilted the boat so sharply that several men skidded across the deck. Ropes whipped wildly, splintered wood bit into fingers, and the boat shuddered under its own astonishment. None had imagined a shark strong enough to batter a 30-foot fishing vessel. When the creature reared its broad back in a slow arc, they saw mottled skin, bluish-gray and speckled, more akin to a whale's than a shark. Its massive tail slashed the surface, sending a spray that glittered in the morning light. "Hold fast!" Tom screamed over the roar. "Don't leap!" But the men clung tighter, eyes wide with a mix of terror and awe. When the shark rolled beneath them, it nudged the boat from the opposite side, testing her balance as if measuring how close she drew to capsizing. The nets, now shredded beyond repair, tumbled into the waves, free once more in a domain the fishermen had only hoped to exploit. In that silence that followed, Tom's breath caught at the sight of the shark's retreat. It glided away, deep flanks slipping beneath the surface, leaving the fishermen shaken. But something unexpected stirred in their hearts, the realization that this creature had not attacked out of hunger or malice. It had liberated the fish, spared them from their fate. It had acted with intention. Rick's voice trembled. It freed them. The younger deckhand nodded, voice barely a whisper. It wanted them safe. Tom scanned the horizon, and there it was again, a vast shape gliding west, deeper into open water. It paused, as if beckoning them to follow. They hesitated. Every instinct urged retreat, to flee from a force they could neither fight nor fully understand. Yet curiosity eclipsed fear. Slowly, Rick opened the throttle. "Let's see where it's going," he said. The engines hummed, and the boat creaked into motion once more, trailing the creature's wake. As they followed, the sea changed. Warm water gave way to a sickly sheen-a-dark film rippling across the bow. A chemical tang stung their nostrils as they pressed closer. Rick grabbed binoculars, sweeping the horizon. Dozens of vessels rested in a line, massive bulk carriers with cranes and pipelines, silent behemoths poised like vultures over the water. Dark plumes trailed from their hulls, and hoses dipped beneath the waves, disgorging thick, viscous sludge into the depths. Tom's heart sank. "They're dumping waste." The suspicion became reality when barrels drifted near the fishing boat, battered and leaking oily rivers into the ruffled sea. Dead fish bobbed in the slick. Rick's camera recorded every angle as Tom steered closer. "We have to get proof," he said. "People need to see this." Behind them the creature rose once more, a monumental form breaking the surface in a deliberate display. It thrashed its tail, flung water toward the leaking hose, and crashed back into the murk. It was no stranger to the ocean's pain. It had chosen Tom and Rick to witness this atrocity and to sound the alarm. They trailed the slick for hours, capturing footage of rust-streaked pipes, rotting barrels, and oil ribbons stretching to the horizon. The whale guided them, surfacing to direct their gaze, marking each site of unlawful discharge. Soon the drizzle of dawn had grown to midday heat, and the crew realized the longer they stayed, the more evidence they could gather and the greater the risk. Finally, Tom nodded. "That's enough." They turned the boat and backed away, engines echoing off the oily slick. On the horizon, the bulk carriers remained motionless, but the fishermen had their proof. Video of the illegal dumping, names of vessels, and the whale's guiding presence. Back in port, Tom and Rick transferred the footage to phones, laptops, and every media outlet they could find. They contacted environmental authorities, activist groups, and naval investigators. Within days, protests erupted at coastal towns. Regulators imposed emergency fines and detained ships for inspection. Skimmers and booms descended on the slick, and reporters hailed the fishermen who had dared to sail into polluted waters not for profit, but for truth. The world learned of the gentle giant who had guided them. Marine biologists identified it as a deep-sea whale long thought extinct, a creature whose lineage stretched back millions of years. It had abandoned its natural solitude to save its domain's smallest inhabitants and to warn humanity of its recklessness. Newspapers ran photos of the spent fins and scalloped tail. Children's drawings of the whale that saved the sea appeared in classrooms worldwide. In time, stronger environmental safeguards arose. The polluters faced penalties. Vessels were forced to upgrade containment systems. Laws forbade ocean dumping under pain of jail and fines. Tom and Rick returned to their smaller nets perhaps, and fresher promises, but their lives had changed forever. They had seen a force greater than any storm or market price, a creature whose very intelligence defied expectation. They knew the ocean was more than a workplace. It was a living forest, fragile and immense, crying out for guardians. They never saw the whale, again only sonar blips off the continental shelf, whispers of its passing. But every time they venture out, nets folded and memories vivid, they scan the horizon, listening for the faint echo of a breach, the silent summons of a protector in the deep. And each time they remember, they feel a tingle of gratitude and resolve, knowing that the next time the sea cries for help, there will be those ready to answer its call.